Ultraman, along came as Spiderman, chapters 1 through 3.
Yeah.
This was a manga that was announced at San Diego Comic-Con, and they wasted no time releasing it. And it's free on the Viz Media app. You just go onto the app, it's there, it's ready to go.
Each week. Yeah. You have a week to read each chapter, and you can read it multiple times. After the week's over, they get it kind of archived if you're not paying for the Viz Media subscription. If you pay for Viz Media subscription, you can read them for free. Well, not free, but you can read them anytime you want. Right now, we're reading them weekly. We got the first 2 chapters last week. This week we have the 3rd chapter. Really cool. It's written by Shigenobu Matsumoto, art by Tomo Hirakawa, and it's translated by Joe Yamazaki with lettering by Brandon Hull. So far, art, lettering, everything really good, well done.
High standard.
This series is like doing a great job in just the first 3 issues. It's kind of like telling you like what is like a hero. Like it's like kind of these first 3 chapters are basically showing you what Ultraman is. Like he's a true hero, and Peter's as Peter Parker, Spider-Man. He's kind of struggling with what it means to be a hero after his latest battle with Dr. Doom, which we see in the opening. It's him, the Avengers in chapter 1. Dr. Doom's just wreaking havoc on a city, and Tony Stark, Iron Man's kind of like, yo, listen, man, we can't save everyone. And Peter's like, I want to save everyone. And Tony Stark kind of slaps him up, and it's like, no, don't.
Yeah, because like, if you spend time saving 2 people, maybe another 100 will get harmed. You have to just go after the enemy and destroy them. And, the issue kind of opens up very much like your average Avengers movie, where the civilians are expendable.
Yeah.
They're not trying to save anybody in those movies. They're just trying to kill whatever the big bad is.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Avengers 2 is kind of all about, is they destroyed an entire city.
Yeah.
In that movie. And in this issue, like, the city's half destroyed. They're just chasing this thing around. They're not actually saving anybody. They're just causing more destruction. And Peter's the only one that's actually going around trying to, like, stop people from falling out of buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
Tony was kind of, like, below him to try to save people.
Yeah.
He's like, leave that for S.H.I.E.L.D. That's not our job.
Yeah. Yeah. And Peter's like, just like, he's like, no, I can't. He's like, I'm Spider-Man. Yeah. And the way this first chapter was going, I was like, are they going to make Peter Parker Ultraman? Because this, like, just seemed like an Ultraman, like, host, like, origin story. Like, especially when you look at Ultraman Jack, Return of Ultraman, Ultraman chooses him as a host after he runs into a building to save some people during a kaiju attack. The building falls on him, and Ultraman's like, oh, this guy is a hero. He saved these people during my fight. I gotta save him. So he becomes the host. And then in Ultraman Ace, you have Hakuto, who was just a bakery delivery man during a kaiju attack. Him and Minami, there's 2 hosts for that one at the beginning. She was a nurse. He's a bread guy. He's saving all these people, and they get killed in the kaiju attack, but become Ultraman Ace.
This is very similar to Decker.
Yeah.
Decker was like a sweet shop employee. He had like a family-run sweet shop, and everyone's, again, same thing. Aliens invade. He's running towards the danger. Everyone's trying to save themselves.
Yeah.
He's looking to save others. It's a very common theme with Ultraman, is just the act of just trying to save everybody, and do right for humanity.
Yeah, humanity, life in general. So during this, Tony is being a dick. Spider-Man's trying to save it. So Spider-Man, after Tony told him you're gonna get killed, nearly gets killed. Dr. Doom shows up, and Spider-Man is just getting blasted. Dr. Doom's got like this arsenal, like I don't know, his arms turn into like these crazy like rocket launcher things, and just rockets are flying everywhere. He's getting beat, and he's like got like a blast in his chest, and he just begins to fall. And as he's falling, the train in the Vari dimension appears and picks him up and Doctor Doom. Now, the train in the Vari dimension is from the final episode of Ultra Q. Really wacky ending to the series. I believe they originally intended to come back for another season or continue forward on with it, which I'll kind of talk about a little later when we bring up the kaiju that was coming up here. But yeah, that episode, the train takes them to another dimension. It's supposed to be stress-free. The train kind of appears for people that want to escape their troubles, and you could choose whether to stay in that dimension or to go back to Earth. But if you get off that train, you can never go back to that Vari dimension again. You get one chance to get on that train and take that ride. So the two of them are on this train, Dr. Doom and Spider-Man. And Dr. Doom's like, I think this is where you get off, and just throws Peter out of the window, and we get this cool panoramic of the train. And the Avengers are like, are you guys seeing this? There's a flying train. And then Peter wakes up, and he's in Japan, and they show Ultraman flying in the sky at the end, and that's the end of chapter 1. Chapter 2 starts off. Peter's there, kind of like, where the hell am I? He's cleaned up. He's healed now. He doesn't have his injuries anymore. He's got fresh spiders.
Yeah, I noticed that too. No injuries anymore.
Yeah. Fresh spider suit. He's good as new. And boom, Peter shows up. Another Ultra Q reference. Now, pretty crazy about Peter. Peter the Kaiju, not Peter Parker. Another Ultra Q reference has not appeared in anything since Ultra Q, besides Ultraman Arc and this. Ultraman Arc of that week, the week this came out, Chapter 2 came out.
Yeah, it's...
Which is
just,
I guess, a coincidence. I don't know. It could be just a massive coincidence.
It could be.
But the Peter suit has been reused for in the Ultraman series. Originally, it was intended in Ultra Q. They were going to bring back Peter to fight a couple other kaiju. Didn't happen. That fight happened with Ultraman. Eventually, Ultraman happened. So Peter didn't come back as a hero in Ultra Q. It was a scrapped idea, or it just never happened because they didn't continue the series after the Vari dimension. Peter, really cool. It's this Alligatorus kaiju, just a big lizard. His powers are he could be anywhere from your typical regular lizard, but stress, heat makes him grow bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's what's going on here. You take over now. I don't want to be stealing it all
like, reading the second chapter, like, Spider-Man's swinging through, and I'm just going to call him Spider-Man just because there's a kaiju named Peter. Yeah. So I don't want to confuse
they really
people.
Have to do Peter and Peter here.
So, like, when the USP was, like, flying around, and they're, focusing in on Peter, and then Spider-Man swinging, they go like, oh, we have Peter in our sights, and then the panel where Spider-Man's swinging through the city, there's a civilian that's kind of pointing in his direction, and he's like, oh, it's a kaiju. For like a second, I was like, is he the kaiju and not realize that he's a kaiju?
No,
but then, like, obviously became clear that that's not what's happening. Yeah. He's like, oh my God, is there, like, what's going on with this giant monster? I've never seen anything like this. And we get a a Ultraman in SSP uniform, standing in the middle of the street, super confident, and Spider-Man's like, wow, he looks like a samurai, like stone cold resilience, just like ready to go. Um, have they said the identity of this
Yeah,
Ultraman yet?
it was Shin Hayata.
Oh, it is Shin Hayata.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
all right.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was Shin Hayata or not. I didn't want to
Yeah,
assume.
he's like, I have 3 minutes to save the city and
Yeah,
save everyone.
and
He's like, I'm gonna.
yeah,
And one of the things he says, I'm gonna save everybody.
yeah. I'm gonna save everybody, and that is the end of this. Well, obviously we get a really cool full page spread of him just clocking Peter in the face. Also, really, really good art. The art in this series is really good. I even like the styling of like the Peter Parker, like with Spider-Man without his mask.
Yeah.
It's very. Yeah, I like that style a lot.
Yeah.
So I was super excited for it, and
Yeah. On to issue 3.
Yeah,
Three.
already on to chapter 3. And the first issue of this is like 44 pages. This one's like 22, and I think this one's like 20. So I think the first chapter was like a double chapter.
Yeah.
But chapter 3, it starts off, they're still in the fight. Peter is just getting bigger and bigger, and Spider-Man's just going around trying to save people.
Yeah. And even Ultraman's like, is this guy getting bigger? And then he kind of realizes, hey, he's getting bigger from the heat. And that's when Fuji shows up with the Science Patrol jet. And she kind of is like, oh, we should stop attacking this thing and shooting rockets. So they're trying to call off the TDF, which is, I believe it's the Defense Force from Ultra 7. And, like, stop attacking.
I said USP, but that's the bad
USP
guys
is,
from the Avengers one.
No, USP. Yeah, USP is the Science Patrol and the Ultraman X Avengers, which we'll get to next.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fuji's jet gets blown up. Traditional, every Ultraman series. Like, I don't think there's an episode where one of the jets doesn't get blown up out of the sky, especially in the show era. Like, their plane budget must have been crazy back then. Like, every episode, Hayata was crashing his jet and just transforming. Even Moriboshi was doing the same thing. Like, how many jets are these guys going through? They're the worst pilots. Fuji's jet explodes. Spider-Man swings in, saves her. And he's still watching this fight, and he's like, how is this guy doing this? And then he watches as the Terrestrial Defense Force attacks Peter. Ultraman gets in the way of the blast, and Spider-Man's like, why is he doing this? And that's when Fuji's like, oh, it's because he's Ultraman. He's like, kaiju, they have children, they have families, they have things that love them, and as long as there's a living thing out there that loves them, Ultraman's gonna fight to make sure that they're safe. And then Peter's like, this is like what a true hero is. Like, he's like, even though this thing's attacking him, hurting him, he's still trying to save him.
Yeah, and there's like a big panel of Ultraman. He's like, Tony, the heroes here are different.
Yes.
It cuts back to Ultraman. He's worrying, he's got the timer going.
Yeah, he's got 5 seconds.
We have
left.
the countdown. He's like, I got 30 seconds. I got 5 seconds. And, the end panel is just him saying, like, I'm going to save everyone. And it's him pushing Peter into the ocean.
Yeah, so I'm thinking the cold water is going to cause Peter to shrink down, hopefully.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's got, like, no time left, so I don't know if he's even going to be able to hold him down. I don't know if this is where he's going to get a Spider-Man assist and somehow make a gigantic net, but I don't know if Peter Parker could make a kaiju-sized web to hold down this monster while it's shrinking.
Yeah, and that's the difficult part is we have to wait till next week to finish this up. Yeah. Luckily,
they come out.
It runs on a weekly basis, unlike American comic books where it could be a month or two.
In Japan, but
it's really like Tuesday 8 p.m. here.
Yeah, it's like Tuesday night. You could grab it. You could read it right before you go to bed or something.
Or that's what I did last week for chapters 1 and 2.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I read them Tuesday
We're
night.
away on vacation, and our toddler does not sleep well at hotels. So I read this at 3 o'clock in the morning, both chapters.
Yeah, I'm really loving it. I'm loving all the Ultra Q references. I'm hoping that we get more. You know, I love me some Ultra Q. It's one of my favorite series.
You know, that's the thing with like all like the Ultraman stuff that's been coming out lately is just like these references aren't just thrown in there for fun. It's not just like reference porn or anything like that. Like they serve the story, and there's such like obscure callbacks to stuff. It's like they really like try their best to really like, you know, these things could go straight over your head and it doesn't matter. There's no inside jokes here that you're like, why did they do that? Why did they do this? Like it's all very thoughtfully done, and I think the attention to detail is just amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
And the graphs that they have on these characters,
yeah,
is really good.
Yeah, like I said, this one especially, like it's like this is what Ultraman is.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly would not be surprised if they somehow make Spider-Man into an Ultra. Just like I said, just the way that first chapter was, I'm like, when I was reading it, I'm like, is the story going to be that Spider-Man becomes Ultraman?
He's going to be the Zafi host.
Yeah.
It's definitely a series. I was like, I read the third chapter and I was just like, I want the whole series. Give me the trade paperback now. Like, that's really how I felt about it.
Yeah, this is gonna be like one of those every like week as soon as it drops, you're like, okay, now I gotta wait a whole 7 days again. Okay, like every week it's gonna.
Yeah, I felt bad that I had to wait till today to read it, a Thursday. I was like, this is ridiculous. It's been a busy 2 days.
Man. Yeah, no, yeah. It's they're very quick reads too. I've read mangas before, but I always just read like the full book. I've never read it like as it's releasing weekly,
chapter by chapter,
like how they're supposed to, like how they're released, like that's how they're traditionally released.
Yeah.
Really loving it. Can't wait to read the next couple chapters. We'll be trying to keep up with it on the channel here.
We're probably going to do a couple chapters at a time.
Yeah, they're quick reads. They're easy to cover, so we're going to try to cover as much as we can here. But, really enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy it, too. Definitely check it out. Viz Media, download that app. You want to read this. It's not something that you want to miss. I mean, we're in some
and it's free.
Boom. Yeah, it's free.
It's free. It
literally costs you nothing. I mean, unless you miss the
You don't even have to make a Viz account.
No.
You can just download the app and click on the comic, and it's there.
Yep. It's literally right there when you open it, too.
Yeah.